So today I want to talk to you about cyber stalking and cyberbullying. Remember that I've talked about social media, the fact that we post content, some of the problems that occur with posting content, the fact that this content that at the same time allows us to communicate, to share information, to collaborate with each other, is information that people who are not good people want to use to make life uncomfortable for us. Cyberstalking is cyberbullying to begin with, is basically just an extended form of everyday bullying. So what happens is that the attacker uses information that they get about you on the web to provoke or to behave as you would do as a bully in real life. Cyberstalking builds on cyberbullying, so we typically assume that cyberbullying happens to younger people and cyberstalking happens to adults. So cyberbullying, to define it concretely, is the use of superior strength or influence to intimidate a person, to force them typically to do something that they would not otherwise want to do. And we say that it is cyberbullying because it happens on online media and typically on social media platforms because they're rich environments for data collection. Cyberbullying, as I said before, is known to happen to children, but it can also happen to adults. But typically, when it happens to adults, we term it or we refer to it as cyberstalking. So if cyberstalking or cyberbullying is in essence harassment, and harassment is a criminal offense, and typically it happens by the attacker or the bullier or the stalker monitoring the victim and trying to use information about the victim to provoke, for example, identity theft. Okay. And how this happens, several media are used, for example, emails, instant messages, phone calls, and most notably, social media. Okay. And why it is offensive and why you want to protect yourself from it is because usually it's unwanted, it's repeated, it's offensive, and it is illegal. Okay. The perpetrators or the person performing the stalking or the stalker or the bullier is sometimes somebody that is completely strange to the person who is being victimized. But usually it is somebody who knows the victim very well. And to know the victim very well, the person needs to, for example, have either inserted themselves or become a part of the network of friends of the victim, for example, on a social media platform. Okay, so how does it happen? Well, in a typical social media scenario, what happens is that the victim receives a friendship request from somebody whom they think they know. So try to remember a little bit about identity theft and spoofing and impersonation of some trusted person or some person that the victim knows. And the victim accepts this friendship request. And usually if it is a person whom they think they trust or that they really like, then the person gets assigned to a category of friends or a category of people that are quite close to the victim and that have a lot of privileges in terms of accessing information that is private and personal to the victim. And so once the stalker or the bullier has inserted themselves into this friendship network, then they have the information that they need in order to do things like threats, in order to send unwanted messages, in order to stalk the victim. What you want to do to protect yourself is that if you realize that this is happening or that somebody is doing this, then you have the option in most social media platforms to block the person. And because this is illegal, you can also proceed to report the person to the social media provider, and what will happen will be then that they will prevent this person from communicating on the social media platform. Whatever you do, you don't want to respond to the messages. So what you want to do is to not respond to the messages, but to keep and print all of the emails, all of the messages that you receive from this person as evidence that you can use later on when you're making a case against this person. Even when you have your trusted circle of friends, in order to protect yourself as much as possible from these sorts of people who might be wanting to stalk or to bully you on the web, what you want to do is to provide as little private information as possible, even to your trusted circle of friends. If they're really your friends, you don't need to share certain bits of information about yourself on social media. You can do this when you meet them, for example, for a party. Be cautious about what you post, what the pictures that you post say about you, what the personal information that you post anywhere online is going to be used for. Okay. When you open up your social media platform, so for example, when you log on to Facebook or you log on to some other social media platforms, so for example, LinkedIn and so on, what you want to do is that once you've logged on, once you finish doing whatever it is that you're doing on your social media platform, you want to make sure that you log out. And you want to make sure that you log out because you don't want somebody else to come on and sit on the same platform and use this and open up your profile and do things on your behalf that you don't want them to be doing. So try to think about this from the perspective that impersonations can lead to somebody behaving as if it was you provoking a cyber stalking or cyber bullying type of attack, or it is you that is going to be bullied because they gather information about you. Try to have things like a password on mobile devices that you have, even for the screen, for example, and passwords even for the screen, for example, of your computing system. So you want to, in sum, protect your data. Remember what we said about passwords, choosing a really strong password to protect whether it is the social media platform that you're using and also the systems that are allowing you to access this social media. Next time we want to talk about malware on social media. The reason we want to talk about malware on social media is because it builds on everything else that we've said before. So think about passwords, for example, think about identity theft, for example, think about spoofing, think about cyber stalking, cyber bullying. All of this happens because we are sharing information on social media, and this information is data or the details that people who want to access this information want to get to at all costs, and so they devise various methods of doing this. We talked about cyberbullying and cyberstalking today. We said that cyberbullying is the platform that allows us to build on to provoke also cyberstalking type attacks, and that these situations are unpleasant and that we need to do things or protect the data that we publish in order to avoid falling into situations like this that allow us to become victims of bullying or stalking.